your name and your classification?
Hey, I'm Kira Parker. I'm a junior at the university.
Definitely. All right, my first question is, do you think there's a connection between media violence and real life violence?
Yes, there's a connection between both of them.
Why?
Because like nowadays, students or children, they're just like, I guess you can say like encouraged or empowered by like what you see on TV and media itself.
All right. And my next question is, do you think there's a connection like in video games such as Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto? Do you think that plays a part of like some of the crimes that goes on?
Yes, especially for males because they think like they can compare that to real life when you kid.
Investigators say that an 8-year-old intentionally shot his 90-year-old grandmother in the head last night in East Feliciana Parish. They're trying to figure out the motive, but deputies point out the boy was playing a violent video game minutes before the shooting.
The boy's access to the gun is what concerns child psychologist Christopher Kalibi the most. But he says an 8-year-old's access to a violent video game like Grand Theft Auto may encourage aggressive behavior.
From a, behavior therapy perspective, I would say that's practicing, right? So if you have a video game where someone shoots at a target, that's sort of practicing shooting at a target. When you have a video game that is shooting at a human being, that is practicing shooting at a human being.
The game is rated M for mature audiences and recommended for ages 17 and older, but Dr. Kalibi says it's rarely enforced by caretakers.
My first question is, do you think there's a connection between media violence and real life violence?
I don't personally, I don't really think there is a difference between them. I feel like just because it's on TV, people don't really follow it.
My name is Schmidt Semi, and I am a sophomore here at Delaware State University.
My first question is, do you think there's a connection between media violence and real life violence?
Well, yes, sir, I do believe there's a connection because people idolize what they want to do and what they want to see.
Say hello to my little friend!
I believe so too, because if you're playing a video game so much, you start to be getting, feel like every day you're playing a video game. So, and I believe for myself personally, sometimes I'll be feeling like, okay, let me go do that. I've seen that in the Grand Theft Auto, maybe I can pass with it. So I do the same.
Let's teach these would-be tough guys what it means to be a tough guy.
Make him bleed.
If he's ratting us out, kill him.
Experience has taught me that a man like you can be very loyal for the right price.
If you do this for me, you will be a made man.
Don't tell me our youth is running out. It's only just begun, begun. Begun, 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 don't bring me down. Don't bring me, don't.
In Fayette County, attorneys for the families of 3 fallen officers were back in court today over a lawsuit against the makers of the video games Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. The relatives of the murdered officers contend that the video games may have contributed to the deaths of their loved ones.
The defendants say the video game is protected under the First Amendment.
A judge has sentenced convicted cop killer Devin Moore to the stiffest penalty possible, saying post-traumatic stress disorder did not give Moore the right to take 3 lives.
Hello, my name is Donald Daze. I'm from Queens, New York. I'm currently a junior. My major is aviation management. A lot of the young community, they see a lot of stuff on TV, not necessarily out in their neighborhood, but they see it on TV and they try to emulate that out in their neighborhood. I think that's where most of the violence starts. Right. They think it's justifiable because they see it on TV.
Right.
Music videos, these these rap stars, they go on their videos and they do X, Y, Z. Not saying it's good, but they show how it is in their hood. So then they try to emulate that and bring it to their hood, the younger community. So I think that's where most of the violence comes from.
In the wake of last month's horrific events in Newtown, Connecticut, a new poll by The Hollywood Reporter finds parents now more aware of violence in the media. 70% of those over the age of 30 say there is too much violence shown in ads promoting TV shows and movies. But 75% say it's not the job of Congress or the president to pressure Hollywood to make less violent content.
I believe that violent video games can have an effect on people. Not everyone can, separate, fantasy from real life.
Right.
And that may have had something to do with it.
Police in Colorado are studying the Batman movies and comic books to learn more about the mind of the killer in Aurora. And as we also said, police departments around this country are sending extra security to guard theaters showing that movie tonight. Here's ABC's Dan Harris.
The movie event of the summer has tonight become a massive security concern. At AMC theaters, nobody's allowed in with a mask or a fake weapon. Fans we spoke with were mindful but undeterred.
No part of you is thinking, I don't know if I want to go see this movie.
No, I want to see this movie.
Just because one person decided to do it doesn't mean that it's going to happen in cities all over across America, I don't think.
Despite a strong start at the box office, the studio, Warner Brothers, is reeling, with the suspect, James Holmes, allegedly telling police, "I am the Joker." He dyed his hair, possibly to look like the character in this scene. He also allegedly rigged his apartment with elaborate booby traps, a favorite weapon of the Joker, who gleefully executes elaborate, lethal crimes and was once described by the actor Heath Ledger as a murdering, schizophrenic clown with zero empathy.
Introduce a little anarchy. Everything becomes chaos.
To call the Batman movies dark would be an understatement. One of the comics that inspired the movie even showed a bad guy shooting up a movie theater. The director of the movies says that grit and moral ambiguity is exactly what resonates with fans.
They are going to be a little unsettled in the way that we want them to be.
Batman is not the first movie to provoke copycats. Columbine shooters reenacted scenes from The Matrix, and Natural Born Killers was blamed for 8 murders. Experts say movies aren't the cause of these killings, only the inspiration.
Maybe, even in his mind, maybe he was becoming part of the movie. Look what this person can do. Look at the power that they have in their hands.
All right, my first question I want to ask you, do you think there is a connection between media violence and real life violence, and why?
Yes, I do, because I believe the kids think that there's nothing to it. It seems so easy on TV to do things and get away with it unscathed, but in reality, it's not that easy.
My name is Justin Bounds. I'm a physical education major, and I'm a senior.
All right. My first question I want to ask you, do you think there's a connection between media violence and real life violence?
There definitely is. Not as extreme as they may make it out to be, but a lot of people do what they see on television, and if the media is constantly promoting violence, then there are people that are going to act out those things that they see on television.
Hi, my name is Renee Thomas, and I'm a recent graduate of Delaware State University. I strongly believe that violence in the media has reached an all-time high. People are subconsciously affected by what they hear and see on television, in the movies, and in the music of today's times. There are many shows on television that people watch and decide that they should emulate. One of the biggest primetime shows on television today is The Bad Girls Club. And literally, it is about bad girls. Every single episode, there is a physical altercation and fight. And this is part of the problem. Although violence in the media has risen to an alarming rate, I do believe that when it comes to the youth, the responsibility lies in the families, the teachers, and the parental figures of the youth. If they are taught that there's a clear difference in movies, television, and radio than real life, it would help for them to understand that they cannot reenact or be influenced by the violence that they view and hear.
So it's normal that kids are going to be interested in these things. Now, what we have to do as parents and as entertainers, and what our legislators have to look at too, is what kind of violence might be disturbing for what age. I mean, there's a definite, I think one of the things that's hard when you're trying to make the world less violent is the understanding that as our parental anxieties go up, kids need to figure out what it's about. It goes up too. And so there's a relationship. I think unless your child is showing signs of being genuinely paranoid or delusional or obsessive about violence, I don't think you have to worry about the shooter game turning your kid into a shooter. Shooter games, I do not believe, turn people into shooters, and nothing in the research supports the idea that they do.
Both the American Psychological Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics caution parents and doctors about the potential hazards. The AAP even launched its own educational campaign about the issue. So what can be done to prevent or at least mitigate these effects? Sometimes the simplest of answers turns out to be the best. Watch TV with your children. Actively watching TV with your child and explaining the difference between a virtual world and the real world was shown to reduce aggression in children in studies. This also makes TV more educational and reduces adoption of stereotypes like gender roles. Since the real consequences of violence are rarely shown on TV, it's important for children to develop the analytical skills they need to reduce their susceptibility to violent media. More formal media literacy courses at school could go a long way to help protect children from the effects of violent media.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? You're too bad, you're too rude, you're too bad, you're too rude, yeah. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? You chuck it on.